We are back in the Barossa and you may recognise the sign behind me, Jacobs Creek, one of Australia's most iconic wineries where tradition meets innovation. I'm Aleisha McCormack and welcome to the Cellar Door, Australia. An hour north of Adelaide, the Barossa Valley is renowned for its bold reds, rich history and world-class winemaking. And while we're in one of Australia's most iconic wine regions, it's only fitting we visit the equally iconic Jacobs Creek. There's a lot going on here, so first up I'm meeting Shannon, the front of house manager, to get the lay of the land.
G'day, g'day.
Hello there.
Hello, Aleisha. Welcome to Jacobs Creek.
Thank you, Shannon. I'm really excited to be here.
Look, can't wait to show you around. We can do some wine tasting today. We can have lunch in Harvest Kitchen or join us for one of our experiences. But I think first and foremost, let's get you into some history.
Yes, let's do it. Well, this is pretty.
Look, this is the money shot, and what I love about this scene is this shows you 180 years of our history, going back to 1847 with our founder's homestead just over in the foothills.
That's amazing. So Jacobs Creek started there? Or
Jacobs Creek, right over there, and the heritage homestead of Johann Gramp is just at the base.
And what year was that?
1847.
No way. I've heard a little bit of a rumour, though, that your family have also been around for that long.
Look, we did arrive in 1843, so
amazing.
A little bit before Johann. But no, I just love telling the history about the Barossa in particular, and also our company.
Well, it's also wonderful to have an OG Barossa family member here on staff. I think that's pretty magic. As well as actually being beautiful, it's a very functional vineyard. Tell me a little bit about what you're growing here and...
Look, quite a lot of Shiraz is what you can see out here, all roughly around that sort of 20 to 30 years old. One thing we do have over the road is we've actually got a 100-year-old vineyard from one of our growers. We also do have a 100-year-old Riesling just over the hill, which hopefully you'll get a taste of today.
Oh, I hope so. Now, I'm assuming that's quite rare to have vines that are like that established.
Very much so, and the Barossa's home to some of the oldest vines in the world, which not a lot of people know. One great aspect we've got here for our guests is we have got a display vineyard showcasing 14 different varieties in one of our experiences.
It seems that Jacobs Creek have built a really nice experience for everyone coming along here. It's not just about wine, although that's very important, clearly.
Very important, but what we love to do is linger longer, so you're not here for 10 minutes,
yeah.
You're here for half a day easily. By the time you come and explore the vineyards, families can spend time on the lawn. We've always got our games out. You can have a picnic. We've got an activation space, so there's so much for families to do. You spend a day with us.
Shannon, tell me about the values of having such established vines. What does it bring to the Jacobs Creek brand?
Yeah, look, what I really love about the storytelling of old vines in the Barossa is we've got one of the sites of the oldest commercial Riesling plantings. When Johann settled on the banks of the creek, he planted Riesling. We use the vineyard over there. There's a lot of innovation throughout.
I love Riesling. It's fresh, it's bright.
Exactly, and Riesling is almost like a Barossa currency around here. You can barter your weekly shopping with a 6-pack of Riesling.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm moving here. It really surprised me when you said we have some of the oldest vines, because I straight away went to Italy and France, and I'm sure they've got some old vines, but that's impressive.
Yeah.
Carrying the torch.
Look, absolutely. We've got some of the oldest Shiraz, the Grenache, Semillon, even Cabernet and the Barossa that are some of the oldest of those examples in the world now. All right, I think that's enough about history. I think we need to taste some wine.
Responsibly, obviously.
Very responsibly. Let's head into Cellar Door.
Let's go.
Tasting time.
Oh, always a delight to come to tasting time. I'm very excited about learning about this range because Jacobs Creek's a really well-known brand, but I think what we're going to drink here is something I'm not going to be able to buy locally.
Absolutely. We do a full series here called our limited release. Very small batch winemaking and only available in this building and only at Harvest Kitchen for the restaurant.
Well, let's try some.
Excellent. All right, we're going to start with a little bit of Riesling. We mentioned the Heritage Vineyard.
Yes.
The site of the first commercial Riesling vineyard in the Barossa. So we're going to start with the limited release 2023 Estate Riesling.
Lovely. Thank you.
Crisp, fresh, acid.
It is crisp. This has got history with Johann then.
So much history. So as I mentioned, 1847 was the original site of Riesling Vineyard, and Riesling is extremely popular throughout the Barossa. And to pay homage to that site, we've always made a Riesling from that vineyard.
Riesling is obviously popular in this area. Why?
Look, a lot of different soil profiles and a lot of winemakers tend to make varying degrees of sweetness. We can make some beautiful dry Rieslings from Eden Valley, come down the hill out to Clare Valley as well in South Australia. So it really comes down on the type of Riesling that winemaker would like to create.
What are some notes that I should be remembering from this?
This one, citrus, acid, beautiful and lifted.
It is very citrusy.
Absolutely.
It's floral in that
Nice
way.
and dry.
Yeah, it's lovely. And not too sweet, that's the thing. Some Riesling can be quite sweet, but this is...
Some can be, and it definitely is something that's trending at the moment, which we can cater for. We do actually make a semi-sweet Riesling as well, so we can do a comparison. Okay, moving into Shiraz Fiano. So again, coming from our heritage vineyard and only available in our cellar door. A lot of innovation behind this wine. I think we are one of the only producers blending white Italian Fiano with Barossa Shiraz. So we're looking at 92% Shiraz, 8% Fiano, and it just creates a beautiful lifted style of Shiraz. Huge perfume.
It smells. Ooh,
You know, the colour in the glass, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, look at that. Gorgeous.
Only been released for a couple of months now and becoming a real hit for something unique and something different in this area. Delicious. Yeah, enjoy it young.
Yeah, so it's new, it's fresh.
Look, I would probably, 5 or 8 years sort of cellaring time with these wines, but they are built to enjoy right now.
Good, because that seems like a long time to wait for such a lovely drink.
Too long. You have to remember, South Australian cellaring time is about 20 minutes from cellar door to home.
Get in the car, let's go.
And let's go, exactly.
Great. Well, this is the beautiful thing about having a wine that is mature, but it is so young. You can enjoy it.
Enjoy straight away.
Yeah, cellaring. I mean, it sounds like a great idea. I can see a rosé here.
Okay, we do have a Grenache Rosé. This was only released a couple of months ago and slowly becoming an absolute crowd favourite in our cellar door.
Thank you.
Just a small amount of times in press to give that beautiful rosé colour. We tend to make a lot of drier style of rosés in the Barossa. We've gone out on a limb and we've gone a semi-sweet style of rosé.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Absolutely.
excited. Okay.
This is Turkish Delight in a glass, and being Grenache Rosé, it finishes beautiful and crisp.
Oh,
Absolute food favourite.
whoa, that's a dessert.
Yeah.
Oh.
Spicy food, chili mud crab, something along those lines.
And it's sweet, but not to the point of like being like a sticky or something
not
where
at
you're
all.
like, but this has got...
Just an enjoyable glass of rosé. And I think more and more people are moving into a little bit of a sweeter style or off dry, whichever term you'd like to use.
Why do you think rosés gained popularity recently?
Look, our climate and certainly coming into summer, I can see this matching a lot of dishes in our resident Harvest Kitchen, our restaurant here on site. We've been dabbling with the chefs a lot with it.
Gee, I really enjoyed this range. And as you said, it's only a cellar door limited.
Cellar door
release.
exclusive, only available here.
So you have to come here.
You have to come here.
What a punish.
I might ship it to you, but you have to come here.
I don't think that's a bad deal. There's still plenty more to do here. Up next, I'll be treated to a signature cellar door experience. See you soon. I'm in the Barossa Valley at the iconic Jacobs Creek. I'm making the most of my visit, so next up, Shane's walking me through the double barrel tasting experience. Hello, Shane.
Hi, Aleisha.
This is one of the Jacobs Creek experiences that you offer, and I'm very interested to see what all this is about.
Yes, you're right. This is a Jacobs Creek signature experience where we highlight our range called the double barrel range. And this wonderful acid here is called a sensory barrel. And it really takes our guests on an adventure. So as you can see inside, all secondary and primary flavors of some of the wine that we're about to taste are all encapsulated in that. So have a smell of this. Pull it around a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Smell the chocolate.
Yep, and there we go. And try
Let's
another
have a little smell
of that.
here. Oh yeah, oh, that smells delicious, as does this. Good combo.
Exactly, so it just helps our guests not only visualize, but get that sense of what they're tasting and actually smelling. Really brings it together. So this double barrel range is, as I mentioned, is a signature experience because it's something that now the company's done where we highlight some of the amazing varietals like Shiraz Cab, and when we finish it off initially in our normal wine barrels for about 12 to 18 months, we then do a secondary fermentation in a whiskey barrel or other spirits like cognac. And we do that for about 8 to 12 weeks. And that allows it to develop and just give it a richer, smoother texture. And it really highlights the flavors and shows what the difference is between adding that second maturation. I'll show you this glass here. And you see these wonderful assets we have. Don't be alarmed. These are actually whiskey glasses. It ties into what the experience is all about. And it also helps aerate the wine while you're doing that. So
that's good. So it's doing a job at the same time.
Yeah.
Let me smell this one.
So that's our second age rum barrel. So you should get some vanilla, as well as a slight texture of coconut just on the after palate. And that comes from the overall maturation in those second use rum barrels.
It's a fun smell and a fun wine. And tell me a little bit about where this idea came from, because this has been really successful for Jacob's Creek.
Yeah, so it started out as an idea in 2012, and then after lots of trial and error, winemaker experimentation, it officially launched in 2014. So we've been doing it for over a decade and being the forerunner in creating something so unique to Jacob's Creek.
Tell me a little bit about this. This is an example of the barrels?
Exactly, so these are staves, and the one on my left is the normal wine barrel. So they're larger barrels, they get lightly toasted, and we mature our wine there for a slightly longer period, anything from 12 to 18 months, to give them that overall texture and maturation. On my right-hand side, we have the smaller whiskey barrels, and you can see the difference in the char. So this is a more deeply charred barrel, and that imparts a much deeper, richer, smoother flavor for our wines. And we like to just highlight that so you can see the difference.
Good to see the difference.
We also ensure that it's matured only much less time. So we talk anything from 8 to 12 weeks to impart enough flavor, but not to overpower the wine as well. One of the wines that you can only experience here at Jacob's Creek is the XO barrel.
Right.
So very unique, very exclusive to our Cellar Door. So it's really a treat for our guests to be able to come in to the Cellar Door, do an experience, and also try a wine that they can't find anywhere else.
What a lovely excuse to come here. You've convinced me.
Hope so.
Oh yeah, that's rich and beautiful.
This definitely gives you notes of dark chocolate, nice black fruit, a bit of spice on the nose. It's a nice, beautiful finish of charred oak. So you're going through all the flavors of our flavor barrel there, and it really is one of our more powerful wines that leaves you wanting for more.
Oh, gee, my job's tough. Next, I'm meeting the people who make it all happen, the winemakers.
We can do lots of different things under the portfolio, from sort of our classic range, Shiraz and Chardonnay, all the way to sort of innovation products like double barrel, or even sort of Prosecco spritz and different things that we've done in the past as well.
How much is a part of your job is experimenting and innovating when it comes to creating new wine?
Oh, it's pretty, there's a lot to do, I guess, in regards to that, but it's also part of the fun part of our role, because we have a really small winery in our larger winery as well, which we call our wine studio. So it's the place where all our winemakers can play around with different wine styles and types and really be innovative as well. So that's where a lot of our limited release wines actually come from in our Cellar Door that are exclusive only at the Cellar Door.
I imagine all the winemakers just sitting around quaffing, doing all this stuff together. Is that what you do? You like hang out, talk about wine?
Oh, I wish. The studio is a little studio. It's a little winery within itself, so we don't actually hang out there too much, I guess, but it is very exciting when we get a new parcel of wine or a different parcel of fruit coming in, a new variety that we haven't played with before. So the fruit comes in and there is a lot of people in the winery at that point in time, because everyone wants to have a look at what we're doing, what we're playing with at that point as well. So it is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that must be fun to be able to then go, what am I going to work with now for the next so many years?
Well, I think the great thing about the wine studio is it allows us to fail as well. But
Yeah.
you fail at a smaller scale, so you can be really experimental or push the boundaries, do things that you might not do at the bigger scale. But for us, when you talk about what do we do each day, it's not just sitting around sipping. There's lots of planning and logistics and making sure that we're getting all the really key things right in the winemaking process.
That's the not so fun part.
Sure,
Yeah.
the admin. Well, I'm really excited to try some of these wines. I mean, I have tried a few at home, I have to say, but I would try again.
Lovely. Well, I'll pour while Trina talks about it.
Okay,
Right.
sure. So we're going to try the Jacobs Creek Survivor Vine Riesling first. So Riesling to Jacobs Creek is so important. It was the very first variety that was planted along the banks of Jacobs Creek back there in 1847. So we still have, we replanted some Riesling vines back in 1997, just to celebrate the 150th year, I guess. But
nice.
we released this Survivor Vine Riesling. It's made from a 100-year-old Riesling from the JC2, which is along the banks of Jacobs Creek as well. So we released this in 2022. The vines were planted in 1922.
Wow.
And we released it on our 175th anniversary of Jacobs Creek as well. So a really exciting wine to release and really to pay tribute, I guess, to our founders back in 1847.
So this is pretty special.
It's very
Pretty
special,
significant.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably had to be some of the oldest Riesling vines in the world, we think.
Wow. Great. Should we taste?
Yeah. We should.
It's very light,
It is very light.
fresh, feels very summery. Makes me want to sit out in the sun, enjoy it,
Have a drink, yeah.
luxuriate.
On a patio.
What should we be looking for?
I think it's very different in terms of what people's palates are as well. We have a definite style at Jacobs Creek in regards to our Riesling. It's all about, we want the variety characteristics to come through. So we want those citrus, those almond blossom notes, but we also want that chalky mineral acid line to really follow through on the palate as well. So that's really what we're looking for in our Riesling in particular.
It's great. I'll just take that. I'm at Jacobs Creek in South Australia's Barossa Valley, where winemakers Dan and Trina have a few more wines up their sleeve for me to try. Looking at some of the other varieties here, I'm very interested in some of these special blends that you have exclusively at the Cellar Door, in particular at the Shiraz here. Fan of a Shiraz.
And it's what Barossa's known for, Shiraz, and we are lucky to have some of the oldest vines in the world here in the Barossa, particularly with Shiraz. So the Survivor Vine Shiraz comes off a vineyard planted in 1921, literally right on the banks of Jacobs Creek. So it's a great wine to have as a limited release here at the brand home for people to come and try.
Well, let's try some, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about what makes it so special and different from what we would just purchase not at the Cellar Door.
So sort of with old vine, and something we talk about with the team, just being an old vine doesn't make it great necessarily, but one thing probably is that why old vines there is probably because they were always great. So they've been kept in the ground through vine pools. So what we see off this vineyard, it's really unique, it's exceptional, is the aromatics, but also the lovely tannin drive that it has. So this is a 2018 vintage. So 97 years old at the time when we harvested these, but you can still see lovely colour and intensity on that wine.
Yeah.
And what we really want to see on the nose is lovely freshness, bright, and red to blue fruits for me. And I think one of the unique things about Barossa Shiraz is there should be a lovely clove spice character that comes out as well.
Okay.
And the difference, I guess, with reds is that they're fermented on the skins versus the whites, which are fermented off.
Yep.
It's all off a single block, but we fermented a couple of different portions. It spent 17 days on skins before we pressed it and then put it into 100% new French oak.
Before it reaches the bottle, in your jobs, how many variations do you go through until you go, this is it, we're ready?
I think the day where we do blending is super exciting. It's sort of the culmination of all the hard work and all the decisions you've made. So this will spend about 15 to 18 months in oak before we go to the blending. And yeah, and it's really at this level, and you're talking about what makes this different, is that it's down to the level of we're selecting which ferment, which parcel, you know, how much whole bunch was there or how many days on skins, and then the different oak types and barrels that it goes into. And we're going, we want that barrel and we want that barrel to really drive the style and the uniqueness of the blend that we're making. For me, I think when people think of Barossa, they might have this idea that it's big, rich, overripe reds, and I think that's not true. Barossa's really diverse, particularly with the Shiraz that it's making, and I love the freshness and the aromatics on this wine. Yes, it's got lovely richness, it's still full bodied, but it's very perfectly balanced and fine-tuned, and that's what we're really trying to achieve with this wine. You know, we're looking, this is 6-year-old Shiraz. I think it's in a really great drinking window right now. You know, we gave it time in bottle before we released it to the market, so we've done the aging for you. You can definitely take it home and drink it, and it's probably still got another 10 years ahead of it easily as well.
Cheers to that.
Cheers,
You guys
then.
doing all the hard work for us. Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your wonderful wine knowledge. And now I can go very informed to have lunch with Pete from the Harvest Kitchen restaurant, where I believe I will also be trying a little bit more of the Survivor Riesling. Delightful. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Aleisha, how are you?
I'm so happy to be here with you. Tell me a little bit about where we are and what's your involvement in this whole shebang?
Yeah, we're at the Jacobs Creek Visitor Centre. So my restaurant Harvest Kitchen moved here just over a year ago. It's been a wonderful move for us. And we're a Middle Eastern Mediterranean inspired restaurant. And we're here in what we term the kitchen garden, which has been one of the wonderful benefits to moving here to the Jacobs Creek site. We're in the middle of spring now, so the garden is looking absolutely amazing.
It does look gorgeous.
And it's a real inspiration for the kitchen team to be able to come out here and see ingredients and think of new ways to incorporate them into the dishes that we're doing.
Obviously, seasonal produce is really important to your cooking. How important is it to work with the winery as well?
It's so important. I mean, as two businesses, we have a wonderful symbiotic relationship, a real connection to the region. We're working with Jacobs Creek at the moment in transitioning the garden over to more native ingredients so that we can incorporate more of those into the dishes that we're doing and start telling more of the story behind the region we're in. And Jacobs Creek is really supportive of that. They understand the importance of the Barossa region and that connection to it.
Should we have a little walk?
Let's.
Come on.
Just down here we've got some carrots that you're also going to see in one of our dishes today.
Looks fabulous. Healthy looking carrots.
Yeah, they're great. One of the things that I love going
Look
is
at
they never look like the one in the supermarket,
No.
but the flavour is just
Even
so
better,
amazing. So the chef is actually going to burn these, so
Great.
they char them up on the char grill and just adds this layer of flavour that's phenomenal.
All right, well, I've seen the carrot being picked. Now let's cook it.
Sure, let's come and see Brad in the kitchen who can show you how we prepare these.
Let's go.
So we've got our snake bean dish with the cashew puree that our chef has featured with some of the broad beans from the garden and a little bit of puffed wild rice. And then we've got our Gumshire pork scotch sitting on that lovely bed of burnt carrot puree, finished off with some of that pearl couscous or mulgrabi and a little bit of toasted buckwheat.
Looks lovely.
And goes beautifully with Jacobs Creek's Survivor Vines Riesling. Riesling, such an amazing variety that the valley is known well for, and the Jacobs Creek Survivor Vines is coming off 100-year-old vines. It is an iconic wine that they produce.
Well, I think we should test it.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Oh, that's nice.
Lovely citrus, lemon characters and lime characters coming through and just tying in beautifully. Would you like me to serve some of the
I would love
food
you to
for you
serve.
to try?
Thank you.
That burnt carrot puree is just so unctuous. It has this lovely flavour from the charring of the
Yum.
carrots that just ties together so beautifully with the pork.
I'll try some right now. I love that flavour, the burnt, but you've got the sweetness of the carrot as well. What a compliment.
As part of
it's
what
lovely.
that caramelisation and charring does is it intensifies the sugar within the carrot.
Oh, it's very nice. The creaminess of the cashews really complements the punchiness of the anchovies. I love that. And I see the tasting plates. I see what you mean about having that opportunity for lots of different flavours, sharing it with everyone, and the wine.
It just all comes together.
We'll just stay here.
Absolutely.
Great. Bed
Cheers
in.
to that.
Cheers. suggest to conclude your visit to Jacobs Creek that you take a glass of Jacobs Creek wine on the deck next to the actual creek. Can't get much better than that. Thanks for watching Cellar Door Australia. We'll see you soon. Cheers.